Question Lane. Solving problems through the process of questions and answers.
There was a meeting that you talked about with Johnny Nicase. Am I saying his name right?
Nicase. Mm-hmm.
Johnny Nicase and Miss Savino. There was a meeting where they pulled you in, and there was a retraction of an accusation, as I spoke about earlier. Can you briefly outline that interaction and what was the conclusion of that meeting?
Yeah, Johnny Nicase was a supervisor, a white supervisor, tall guy. You know, he kind of liked to throw his weight around, and he felt like he would intimidate people. He didn't like my drive to try to learn. And now with his situation, yeah, I say that was racism. That was pure racism. I know it was. And he would give me a directive to do something, and then I would do it, and then he'd say he didn't say that. He didn't tell me to do it. And vice versa. And in this particular case, he saw me getting ready to leave with the company vehicle to go up the block and get coffee. And he asked me if I had gotten permission to use the vehicle. And I told him, yeah, I got permission, because the rule was that you don't just take a company vehicle off the premises. You have to get permission. Because the last thing you want to do is take the company vehicle and you go out and you have an accident. Now you're in trouble because you didn't make the company aware of what was going on with the vehicle. And they could always say, no, we didn't want you to take that vehicle. Or they could say, well, we were planning on moving one of the employees to another station with that rig, and you took it out, and you prevented us from having access to it when we needed it in an emergency. So I didn't want to be responsible for that. And I'm a new guy coming in, so I was following protocol. I told him, yes, I did get permission. And there's a phone that we have to call to get permission. That's a taped line. When you pick that phone up and you communicate with the shift manager, everything you say to the shift manager is recorded. So clearly, you know, I requested permission to take the vehicle to go out and get coffee, as I was told I had to by the operators there. And I went, I got the coffee and came back. And next thing you know, I don't know, a couple of days later, sometime later, I was called in. They said they wanted to conduct a fact-finding. And Mr. Nicase was there with his boss, a woman named Michelle Savino. And there was a shop steward and a couple other supervisors. And they made this accusation that one of the things that I'm doing where I'm not following company protocol, and it poses a threat to my existence on that job, was that I took the company vehicle without getting permission. And I said, what are you talking about? And then Mr. Nicase, I was made aware that he had told his boss that instance when I told him that I had gotten permission to use the vehicle, he said that I didn't have permission to use it. And I mean, I just couldn't believe that he did that. You know, so he's clearly poisoning my reputation in the minds of his boss and the people who are witnessing this. And I kind of threw a little monkey wrench in the situation where I said, you know what? I want to prove that I got permission. And I told you I got permission. I want to have all of the recordings pulled so that you can hear exactly what I said on the shift manager's line. And his boss got up and had to go to a meeting. And after his boss left, one of the supervisors were reading the notes from that meeting before we disbanded. And they said, okay, well, we're going to do A, we're going to do B, and C, we're going to pull the recordings from such and such date to find out what was said and if Mr. Ford indeed got permission. And then Case says, Charlie, no, we're not going to pull the recording. I know you got permission to take the vehicle. And now the only person that did not witness him do that or say that was his boss that had left. The other supervisors there witnessed it. The shop steward witnessed it. And nothing became of it. Nothing became of it.
That's exactly why I suggest that people get these things in writing, where everybody is clear on what was said in the meeting, what the accusation was, and what was the result of the meeting. Because that was something where I read that and I said, "Wow, that's interesting." For for him to just say, "You know what? No, never mind. You don't have to pull the recordings. It's all fine." Mm-hmm. Didn't he reach across the table and try to shake your hand?
Yeah, try to reach over to shake my hand. Yes, he did.
Sounds like it was a deliberate attempt to kind of get you riled up and make you do something rash so you could get fired. Would that be accurate?
Very accurate. And I knew it. I knew that they were trying to get me to do something so that they could, implement my ouster from the company. And I didn't do anything quick enough, so they just started making things up. And this is common. This is common with a lot of employees. A lot of employees are going through stuff like that. I mean, just from the response that I've gotten from many Con Ed employees after the book came out, the stuff that I've been hearing is just like, it's unbelievable. But then again, it is believable because I lived it. I went through it, so I know. But it's just that when you see it coming out and people telling you the kind of stuff that they went through, it's like, man, wow, okay. There it is.
Can you explain the importance of creativity? We spoke about it a little bit earlier when you developed a tagline for the company. Can you explain the importance of creativity and how do you assess its value? Because it sounded like earlier, when you presented the idea to the company, you were just looking for maybe $500 and a recognition of your works in the company letter. But as you found out how much the company paid to an ad firm, it kind of made you think about the importance of creativity and how you should assess value to that. So can you explain that process and what's your thoughts on that?
Well, the importance of creativity will vary from person to person. Some people may have a level of creativity that they're not actively trying to make something out of. So it's not really going to mean anything to them. They really wouldn't care what happens to something that they may create, kind of like George Washington Carver. George Washington Carver invented so many ways to use the peanut. And he could have easily patented that stuff and made a fortune for all of his descendants and family to come years later. But he didn't really feel it like that. He wasn't really trying to capitalize on it. He just wanted to give it to mankind. So in cases like that, you can't really emphasize the importance of creativity because those people are not going to get it. They're not going to feel it like that. But if you are a creative person, it's important to realize that what you create, especially if you're trying to make something out of it, it's important for you to realize that you are worth something. You are worth more, in a lot of cases, more than you even believe. And by not being a part of the machine, we don't really get a chance to see what kind of money flows for some of the things that we easily create. We're just not in that circle, so we don't really see what we can do. We're not encouraged to do it because once you're in that circle and you see the kind of money that you can generate for what you create, that will stimulate a drive for you to create even more. and stay in that circle and get even better and better at it. But some of us, we're good at what we do, and we continue to get better even though we're not in the circle. It's just so embedded in our blood to be creative, and we hold value to it, but if we don't see it doing anything, we tend to either devalue it or just give up outright doing it, thinking that we're not going to get anywhere. We can't do anything. There's no vehicle. There's no outlet for us to express our creativity. But it's important for us to realize that it really has value, and you have to place value on what it is that you do, because where you don't, others will. Others will, and they will capitalize off of it happily and leave you with crumbs or next to nothing.
That sounds logical. As your career progressed, I believe this was in late 2001, you had a statement in your book where you said you wanted to document everything that Nikkei demonstrated. That Nikkei said, so that you could demonstrate that he was a liar and you had proof that it happened. Now, what gave you the mentality to get a recorder and start recording all your conversations with your manager in, 2001?
Because I realized that Con Edison management, upper management, were like the United States court systems, and how they will believe anything a supervisor says happened the way that the United States court systems will believe anything a New York a policeman or policewoman says happened, or police or officer in the country in general. Whatever they say happened, the U.S. court system backs them up. And with that kind of situation going on, you don't have any defense unless you have proof. We already saw what happened with Rodney King. Even with the evidence, the videotape that they saw, they still figured out a way to get out of it and deny it. The way that they did it is they slowed the videotape down so you couldn't see the brute force of those batons being hit on Rodney King's body when he was down. And they were able to do this. The court system allowed them to slow it down, put it in slow motion. So when those batons and nightsticks were hitting them, you couldn't really feel it the way you would feel it if you saw it playing at its actual speed. So they got all kind of technology, all these kind of games, and the system is rigged to not give you the justice, is that word, to not give justice where it favors the employee or the civilian. And once I felt like that, once I saw that that's how Con Ed was getting down, that's when I said, I have no choice, because whatever I tell upper management happened, they're not going to believe me, they're not going to support it, and they're still going to go with their quota to suspend me. And I wanted evidence the next time Nikkei lied, and that was that was the reason that I started recording all the conversations I had with her.
You talked about when you complained and wrote letters about your lack of training, that you were made out to be a troublemaker and someone who was not doing their job correctly. Did you ever receive any responses in writing, or was all of these responses verbal?
Okay, now, when you say responses, you mean where I learned that I was being seen as a troublemaker?
Correct.
No, they would never put anything like that in writing. It was just word of mouth would go around, and people were starting to get an impression about me because of what management were telling people.
So
some people were good enough with me where they told me what they heard. Like it's being said this, about you, and that's being said about you. And I'm like, really? Yeah, it was very interesting. And, management would never say it to my face. They would never come up to me and bring a gripe. They would do it behind my back. They would send emails to one another about me. And that's when I really realized that these people were just like painting this crazy picture of me. And people like supervisors that I didn't even know. You would meet them for the first time, and they had a preconceived notion about you based on what they heard. Never mind where they heard it from, but the word of mouth got out. That was put out by management, and they just fell right in line.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay up to date for more videos by clicking the bell notification icon and following our social media. For any of the people, groups, companies, or videos that were referenced in this video, don't forget to check the description and or the pinned comment section. The Question Lane, solving problems through the process of questions and answers.